Everyone, this is Dr. Jacqueline Cortez Salmons here at Transformation Health and Wellness in Anaheim Hills, California. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. We're here once again, just kind of talking about the most recent issues within healthcare, within your overall wellness, to kind of help you have the best outcomes. So I've had a lot of questions and a lot of topics come up this last week within the practice. Most of them have to do with mental health during this time of social isolation and social distancing. A lot of us are trying to comply with the quarantine for COVID-19. We're staying home. We're trying to keep and protect our loved ones. But with that comes at a great cost, really. And I think that we're starting to definitely feel it. I know we have some of these social media outlets where we can sort of express memes and we can put our rants on about government conspiracies and who knows what, but really at the end of the day, we are struggling. And it's not a wrong feeling to have by any means. There's actual chemical things that are going on in your body right now as a result of this isolation that are very real. And I think something that's very important to talk about. So I wanted to address primarily kind of what the importance is of maintaining a daily routine throughout this quarantine. I know that's difficult for us to do. A lot of us have kiddos at home. We have our work responsibilities as well that we're trying to modify and log in. And we've got Zoom meetings and go to meetings and all of this kind of thing. And it's a little bit difficult to maintain something. And then there's other days that we don't have anything going on. A lot of us have lost our jobs. We've been furloughed. So we kind of have no excuse but to stay in pajamas all day and not put a bra on, quite frankly. But really, I'm here to talk to you about why it's so important not to fall into that chasm. So very, very important. We are creatures of habits. As humans, we're creatures of habits. We like routine. Routine begets consistency. It begets productivity. So we feel like we've produced something when we've completed a routine. And then also it begets safety. When we know that there's a routine and a schedule and there's boundaries, then that tells us that aside from that boundary, then I'm not safe. Right? So here within these boundaries, I'm actually going to do quite well. And we have that sensation of feeling secure. And that in and of itself actually helps to lower stress and anxiety levels. It helps to lower inflammatory markers like our IL-6, IL-2, IL-1B. So all of these factors that contribute to overall body inflammation actually can get elevated as our stress levels go up, as our anxiety goes up, and as our social isolation goes up. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So that's number one. Number two, with that daily routine, as I was saying, like that productivity, that sense of feeling like you've accomplished something, again, helps with overall mood and helps you to feel like you've accomplished something. So even if that is just getting dressed every day, I know that I've gone through some challenges in my life, and some days it was just everything I could do to just get dressed in the morning. And that was my sanctity. That was the best I could do that day. And even then, it's sometimes enough. So I would encourage you to definitely start implementing some of these things. It also, for those of us who do have kids at home and who are trying to get through schoolwork and all the rest, again, it gives them that sense of safety and security as well to know, okay, I'm going to wake up every day. I'm going to have my classwork on this day. I'm going to do these things. And then in the afternoon, I get to play, either whether it's in the backyard or go swimming or what have you. I can do these things, and it gives them that routine and that security of having something that they can follow on a day-to-day basis. When we're operating a bit haphazard and chaotically, it really adds to that anxiety and stress levels of everybody in the household. So really important. I made some notes as per usual, so I'll be referring to them from time to time. Definitely, we want to maintain several things while you're maintaining that daily routine. So what can that be? Really, one, and this becomes chicken and egg type of thing, but which is first? The sleep begets a really good daily routine, or should the sleep become part of your daily routine? So we have to get good sleep, maintain a good sleep schedule. I cannot emphasize this enough. So it's very easy to get into our Netflix account and start binge watching all of whatever the latest greatest show is that we've seen in the past or we've been wanting to catch up on. Our kids do the same if they're kind of left unsupervised with electronics. not like my kids ever would be. But certainly we can get into that where it's like, okay, just one more episode, one more episode. Or for me, it's always, let me read one more chapter, or let me read one more article, because like hashtag geek status. But that being said, then it's difficult to kind of shut it off, shut it down, and get to sleep. But so critically important, because again, it helps to decrease your inflammation, decrease CRP levels, the interleukin levels, and kind of get your body geared up, restored, and ready for the next day, so that way you can have a normal wake up time in the morning. I encourage you to set an alarm, definitely. So even if you've got nowhere to be and all day to get there, that's what I always say when we're on vacation, that's great, but still set an alarm. Get yourself up, open those eyeballs, take in the day, take some few deep breaths, get yourself grounded, and make sure that you're ready to face what the rest of the day has to bring. Yes, so we have one comment from our friend, and he says, working at home is stressful just because you never feel in your true element. Morning exercise, morning rituals seem more challenging. How does circadian rhythm affect the motivation and energy? And that's, again, kind of what I was alluding to with that sleep-wake cycles. So really important to maintain that healthful sleep habit, stay on top of going to sleep at a certain time. Don't let it go past 9, maybe 10 o'clock at night, and then wake up in the morning. Get your body moving. Fill your lungs with a couple of deep breaths every morning. Just again, 5 to 6 deep breaths, cleansing that body. Again, this is going to help move air and oxygen. It's going to help to remove some of those toxins, blow off that carbon dioxide and some of that acidity, and keep your body nice and balanced. So really super important to do that. And then maintaining that exercise schedule, again, helps with endorphin release. So these are our feel-good hormones. They help keep us kind of numb to any aches and pains that we have, but also release of GABA and all of the other neurotransmitters that come along with exercise actually help with mood elevation and mood stabilization. So it makes us much more pleasant people. And because of that, because of the pain, kind of numbing effects, because of that calm that takes over after exercise, will help us maintain that circadian rhythm. So it's going to really keep us in that differentiation between day and night. Day is for exercise. And what exercise is really mimicking is in that hunter-gatherer state, it's actually mimicking us hunting and capturing food, right? So we're running, we're getting that saber-toothed tiger, we're capturing the fish in the stream, we're doing all of these things. That's going to help keep us on our A game and differentiate that this is day hunting time, and then this is night. It is time to settle down and calm down and get our body restored. We can process and synapse all the things that we've learned throughout the day and make it a better day the next day. So that's how our body is designed to work. So from that very primal standpoint, which you'll hear me talk about again and again, that primal mechanism that's in place is to keep us up during the day and asleep at night. So we want to maintain that to the best we can. And it's difficult to do sometimes when we're trapped indoors, we've got the lights off, and we're just kind of sitting on the couch, bemoaning our fate about homeschooling. But really, we want to try to keep the lights on, go outside, breathe some air, make sure that you're getting that sunlight, which is going to help you to synthesize your vitamin D, which has huge antimicrobial, antiviral benefits. It helps with maintaining your immune system, lowering cytokines. So if you're sensing a theme here, all of these things are going to contribute to lowering your inflammation, which ultimately will then restore your immune health and make you healthier for battling COVID if you encounter it, or any number of the other viruses that are running around out there. So that's important. The other thing that's going to come as a good benefit from a daily routine is normal eating habits. Now, I know that there's a lot out there about intermittent fasting. I personally am not a huge fan of it, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that I don't necessarily participate in it. You know you best is what I always say in my practice. So if keto works for you, if Mediterranean diet, I don't really care. Even if your breakfast is Oreos, and it's been Oreos for the last 30 years, if I could get an Oreo sponsor in here, that'd be super. But nonetheless, if that's what you do every day, please continue doing it. This is what your body is accustomed to. This is what it's going to be craving and wanting. And when we start to deplete the body of the things that it's wanting, again, we start to get that inflammatory response. We get those stress responses, even though it's not necessarily stressed. I mean, nobody's starving here necessarily, there are some, of course, but the people who are not starving is fine, but still our body is kind of feeling like, what are you doing to me? Like, I don't like this at all. You need to walk this back. Where are my Oreos for breakfast? So make sure that if this is a routine that you've done on a regular routine, you always get up in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, you have your juice smoothie, and you would otherwise be in your car going to work, at least mimicking that to the best of your ability. Wake up, have your cup of coffee, make your juice smoothie, go log into the computer. Okay, that's fine. You don't have that commute right now, but definitely kind of maintaining as much of that routine is going to be huge. It will also help you make more healthful food choices if you are meal planning. So again, not necessarily standing in the kitchen for 6 hours meal prepping for the week, but certainly just saying, okay, tonight we're going to have spaghetti. Do I have everything that I need for spaghetti? Keeping that organization, keeping things on track, having the kids participate and be a help in that, having your spouse come and help participate, be a help in that. All of those things, one, are going to be community building within the household, but it's also going to help you maintain a better, more healthful regimen than just sort of a grab and go mentality. Oh, shoot, you know what? I lost track of time. It's 9 o'clock at night. I guess we got to eat something. Anybody want a bowl of cereal? Right. So this is kind of how that's going to help to maintain as well. Let's see. How can we get more veggies in the diet and without preparing large salads? This is a big problem for me. I can't eat large amounts of food because of a surgery that I've had. So with that said, preparing a big, large salad for the whole family is not really optimal. So even just preparing little snack baggies, little tiny Ziplocs that are about this big, you can throw some broccoli sprigs in one, you can put carrot sticks in the next one, even tearing apart some of those pre-packaged like veggie snack packs that they have in the produce section. You can throw all your carrots in one little baggie, all of your broccoli in the next. You can blanch them. I'll sometimes do that. I'll put them in a little Tupperware of about a centimeter of water, or like a half an inch of water. Just pop them in the microwave for a good minute to 2 minutes. It gets them hot. It gets them a little bit softer, but still kind of crunchy. So that's a nice thing as well. Also, we know that psychologically, the crunch from crispy vegetables actually helps to diminish sweet cravings, and it gets you more sated. So you feel more satisfied than if you were to grab like a squishy piece of bread. Then having those veggies are going to be huge. Also, fiber is the fertilizer for our gut flora. Let's talk about gut flora maybe next week. But definitely we want that fiber in our diets to help keep us regular, help feed our microbiome, because that microbiome is also going to support us immunologically. So really, really critical. Okay. And then as far as different supplements and smoothies and juices that I recommend, again, whatever your routine is really a good place to start. Aside from that, though, I think that this is a really optimal time that if you've been wanting to do a detox, if you've been wanting to do a juice cleanse, then you definitely, like, there's no better time than now, right? Because even if you feel sick to your stomach, if you have a headache because of the effects of the detox, you're home. So, okay, go take a nap for 2 hours, try to walk it off, flush it out with some fluids. You'll have access to your restroom at home a little bit more so than if you were out in the field working, if you're commuting all day long, on a plane going wherever you go. You have the opportunity now to really cleanse and get your liver clean, get your body clean. So to answer that question, particular supplements, I do like Orthomolecular's product as far as their detox 14-day cleanse. It's more palatable than some of the other companies that I work with, but they're all very well put together. And I think that it depends on what your palate is, and also if you have any other food limitations. So I do have one from Designs for Health that is a vegetarian, or excuse me, vegan only, so it doesn't have any of these other additives that could be potentially animal based. So we do have a variety here in the practice that we can help walk you through. We also have an amazing health coach who can walk you through nutrition wise, and she can send you shakes to be making at home, again, to kill time. If you want to make your own, you can, and she can help you with that process as well. So we've got our sleep health, we've got our exercise health, we've got our nutritional health. So all of these things are really, really critical for maintaining us all in all. Definitely, we want to be sure to get outside as much as you can. So again, just getting outside, and depending on the state you live in, this may be restrictions here and there. I keep hearing rumors that, oh no, you can't even go outside. think you can go outside. You can stay either in your own yard, front yard, or backyard. You can go for a walk, be respectful. I just went for a walk this morning with my hubs, and we were just very respectful, passing other people. Everybody kind of just moved around each other. We said good morning still, so you don't have to be rude or completely isolated from even discussing anything with somebody else. You can certainly say hi to your neighbors. You just can't be up in their grill doing it. So, get out, go for a walk, get that exercise, get that vitamin D going, get some fresh air, feel like you've accomplished something and made yourself stronger. Remember, exercise also helps to maintain your metabolic rate. So it'll keep that metabolic rate. I heard somebody the other day refer to COVID-19, that we're all going to get the COVID-19, which will be the 19 pounds that we all gain because we've been sitting on the couch for, 3 months. And so we want to be really cognizant of that, not because weight loss necessarily is our goal, but really health is our goal. So we don't want to trigger all of this inflammation by eating poorly, by not exercising, by not maintaining that daily routine. But there have been study after study that have supported that daily routine actually diminishes the effects of depression and anxiety. Again, one of those things I've actually had in my practice several individuals who I've had to place on antidepressants. And initially it was because everybody was dying of COVID and, oh my God, my whole family is going to be decimated in this thing. There's a lot of anxiety and fear associated with the disease process itself. But now it's sort of shifted. I've seen in the last couple of weeks that is not necessarily the fear. The fear is, oh my gosh, there's no end in sight to this quarantine. I'm going absolutely crazy looking at my same four walls. I am not understanding fourth grade math homework. There's a lot of other dynamics that are going on. People are losing their jobs. They're not financially secure right now. Financial instability is a huge, huge, huge stressor. And so, again, when it's certainly something that you have no control over, because it's not like you can actively go out and seek a job for most individuals at this point in time, that is a huge stressor. So that anxiety is now shifting from the actual disease process to kind of the after effects of the mitigations that we've put into place to try to protect our health. We're actually then damaging our health in other respects. Again, social isolation has been linked in multiple studies. A lot of them have been mouse studies, so I'm still kind of reticent to post them because I don't want to have Greenpeace and PETA all up in my business. But they've been very well designed studies in that they've demonstrated that those mice, again, mammals are social, those mice that have been isolated prior to an event and after an event where they basically induced cardiac arrest, those mice who were isolated did more poorly. They had more extensive brain damage. They had more extensive muscular damage than those mice who were actually in a social setting and they were paired off with a partner. So again, even though we might have our families at home, I know a lot of seniors are staying on their own, alone. We're kind of having to visit from the sidewalk here. I'll leave your groceries out here, send a runner out. So we've been avoiding them in order to protect them. We actually are putting people more in harm's way by increasing those inflammatory cytokines, increasing anxiety and depression, decreasing mental health stability, actually makes us much more susceptible to becoming ill. And if we become ill, doing more poorly. So something to be really aware of. So even if part of your daily routine becomes something that we're actually just checking for messages over here. If the part of that daily routine becomes just maintaining a Zoom meeting or a GoToMeeting or a FaceTime with a friend or with a family member. Hey, every day at 1:00, I'm going to see you right here. Again, that is really a critical part of us staying socially connected through this process so that we can best maintain all of our health, not just mine, but then also my friends, my neighbors, my family members. So really, really critical. You can build that in as well. And let's see. Oh my goodness, you're going to get me in trouble. Okay, so the question is about vaccines, pharmaceuticals, natural ingredients daily. How do they apply to us related to coronavirus? And what's the healthiest option? So again, if you follow my posts on Instagram and Facebook, you'll know that I put out there quite a bit about prevention. And prevention is worth an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. From Benjamin Franklin. That's not mine, obviously. But that being said, it's absolutely true. So part of the issues that there are in conventional medical setting or mainstream medicine is that we are sort of trained as physicians to see the train wreck after it's happened. You come into the office and you're dragging your limb behind you and we say, oh, look at you, you lost a limb. you're a train wreck. It's like, well, that's what I told you when I came in. Thanks so much, doc. How much school did you go through to be able to say that? And so certainly what we try to focus on in this practice is not so much diagnosing the train wreck once it happens and trying to paste it back together with bubble gum and duct tape, but actually avert the train wreck altogether. Right. So if we can actually see diabetes coming down the road, if we don't change our ways, we're going to get diabetes. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to have a stroke. Being able to look at these things kind of with some foresight and being able to walk it back and saying, but we have an exit off of this freeway over here. We have an exit over here. We can actually divert and come away from some of those end organ disease processes by averting it altogether. And so we do that through nutritional health primarily, maintaining a good, healthful, stable diet. Again, here in this practice, I'm not a party to any one particular diet. I'm not, hey, everybody needs to be intermittently fasting. Everybody needs to be on keto. It's just not how we work. Every individual is exactly that. They are an individual and they need to be taken with that individual person's factors that they come to the table with, whether that's nutritional constraints, food sensitivities, sleep wake cycle issues, like if you work at night or if you're a trucker on the road, if you're doing all of these things and it's not really conducive to you just saying, oh, I'm going to have 3 square meals a day and some snacks in between. It doesn't work that easily. So we work with you to really individualize that care. As far as like my Fab4, what would I recommend that you absolutely have in your diet? And this is pretty routine, but as far as supplements are concerned, this is pretty generalized. A good probiotic. Definitely want to be on a good probiotic that's going to help to support your gut flora because, again, your gut is responsible for about 80% of your immune response. So if our gut is all messed up, you can very well imagine that our immune response to anything is going to be all messed up. So we want to help to stabilize that gut flora. So being on a really good probiotic is key. The next thing that you want to be on is something like short chain fatty acids. So these are our omega-3 fatty acids. You can get that through fish oil supplements, which also have your omega-6s, but you want primarily like your EPA, your DHA. And again, those can be found in a variety of supplements. I work with a number of different companies. So again, we have a formulation that's going to kind of best fit you and your needs. So if you don't tolerate one, that's fine. We can work with another. And these are good quality products to get you to the levels that you need. Again, you can go to, whatever grocery store and get these things, but how much of a quality there is behind it is always then the variable question, and we don't really know the answer to that. So that's why I work with a few specific companies. The next thing that I would absolutely recommend is turmeric and resveratrol. So those are 2 elements that, again, help to diminish that cytokine response, or I should say make that cytokine response much more appropriate so that you can recognize disease and attack disease, but not go crazy with inflammation to the point that you're actually doing tissue damage to your own body. So those 2 substances are going to be really, really critical. And again, you can drink turmeric tea. You can eat turmeric as like a powder on your foods. It turns everything bright yellow. It's a beautiful yellow, but if you don't want yellow Tupperware, I don't recommend packing your turmeric rice in the Tupperware. So you can do that, but to get to the levels that you actually need, serum levels to really protect with inflammation, you need one of these supplements. So I usually use Turiva or Curcumin Veil, or we have Turmero SE. So there's a bunch of different products that I utilize to really get us to those serum levels to get that anti-inflammatory benefit. Then lastly, vitamin D. Again, you keep hearing me talk about it, but it's so, so critical. So many of us, it's really like if we want to talk about a pandemic that's real, let's talk about the pandemic of vitamin D deficiency. We've protected ourselves from the sun because now with our generation, our moms told us, please stop using Crisco and baby oil for laying out in the sun. We need to use sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. It protects our skin. It makes us beautiful. Thanks, Mom, by the way. It makes us beautiful. That's fine. It protects us from skin cancer even better. But with that, then we have a fundamental vitamin D deficiency in this population. And it's really pandemic. It really is worldwide that we're kind of suffering from this. So important to get some sunlight. Again, it can be indirect sunlight. It has to be particularly UVB rays. And then aside from that, then supplementing. You've got to supplement with vitamin D. But even then, I've had patients come to me, hey, I've been supplementing and my vitamin D levels don't go up. What does that come back to? Gut health. So if our gut health is not appropriate, we're not going to absorb things appropriately. We're not going to break things down appropriately. So you can take all the supplementation in the world, but if you don't get your gut health straight, it's not going to work. So we want to get those vitamin D levels up. Again, optimal levels are going to be anywhere from like 70 to 80. Most of us are running around in the mid 20s. And a lot of times our doctors are pretty happy with that. They're like, you're okay. We want to get it up to 30, but you're all right. And really, levels below 30 beget rickets, which is like basically bones just completely losing structure and breaking all over the place, osteoporosis. So that's why that's the lower end of normal, but not because it's normal healthy. It's normal that your bones aren't breaking spontaneously. So, hey, good job. But that's really not healthful. And now that we know that there's so many vitamin D receptors or VDRs on more cells in the body than just bone cells, this is so critical for us to get those levels up to where we can have mental health stability, immunologic stability, and so forth. So all the roles that vitamin D play. Let's see. And then as far as vaccines and part of pharmaceuticals, again, I think that we're kind of missing the point as far as maintaining our normal immune health. I think if we maintain our normal immune health, then we may not have as much need for the pharmaceuticals on the back end. Again, there's always there's a role for antibiotics. I just gave an IV infusion of antibiotics this morning. It's definitely something that is needed from time to time in very specific instances, but the best thing that you can do is prevent the need for them altogether. Vaccines, I'm not particularly an anti-vaxxer per se, but I think it's a very individual choice. It's something that each patient should be able to look at the pros and the cons, both of the vaccine and of the disease itself, and decide whether or not he or she wants to participate in receiving a vaccine to help prevent because there's more fear and concern about the disease itself. Or do we want to just take our chances with the disease and say, no, I don't want to take the vaccine because there's more potential harm from the vaccine itself? And again, that depends on the vaccine. It depends on that individual. So something here in our practice that we very much like to have an individual choice of each independent patient so that they can make their best choice for their health. So that kind of wraps it up. I'm really glad that you could join us today. And certainly if you have any questions, please comment below. Make sure you hit your subscribe and your notification button down below so that you can get notified when we do our new videos. And the next one coming up will be our Field Trip Fridays. I'm really excited about it. We're coming up to a really cool practice that I can't wait to share with you. So you take care. We'll talk with you soon.